Yep, perfect. Well, welcome everyone to the Corporation of the Township of Ontario Valley committee meeting. Today is Tuesday, November 5th. It is 1:40 p.m. We're meeting in the council chambers, municipal building and Zoom conferencing. Is there any additions to the agenda? So I had the two. One was for the Legion Walkway, I believe. And then so that will be under, I guess we'll just put down your new unfinished business, keep it simple.
No, it's correspondence.
Correspondence B,
Yeah.
okay, that's
B.
fine.
And,
Then for that, the
We-
grant application.
and that, yeah, so the email that I sent out this morning about crosswalk, and secondly, an email that we got from Enbridge Gas that I will speak to, in correspondence as well.
Eight.
The other thing is, I think we should, correspondence B7 about Wentland Road, we should deal with that one. Jason's in the room.
Yep.
Thank you, Chair.
And the grant application is on the agenda, but yes, I will speak to it in more detail because I realized the PDF just didn't load into the agenda document, so
It was very odd.
yes.
Yes. The other thing is, 8.2 is really unnecessary. I've included the OPP billing in my very extensive mayor's report. Even though it's only been a few weeks since my last one, a lot of stuff's gone on. So 8.2 is really necessary.
So all we'll do is we'll just, we'll go right into the 8.3 directly from. there.
Sounds good.
And we can discuss it further in that. No worries.
Okey-dokey.
Okay, could I please have a confirmation then? Merv, thank you very much. All those in favor? Perfect. Is there any pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none, perfect. Was there any errors or omissions with the previous councilman or the previous committee meeting? Seeing none, could please have a mover? John, thank you very much. All those in favor? Perfect. We do not have any delegations today. So we'll move on to reports. So Daryl,
Do we have a general webinar?
Want me to go get the other Daryl?
Yeah.
Sure,
it's fine.
right, because Daryl, sorry, I knew there was something, but I'm like, I knew he was gonna be here. He might be late, so,
Well, he is.
yeah. So he said, leave him at his regular time and he'll try to get here, so he'll be,
Yeah, no worries.
he should be here by the time Jason and the other Daryl think.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good.
Sorry about that, I forgot.
He's coming.
Oh, we're reading, Annetta. I think this is the longest minutes that we've had since the last election.
Yes, they could be.
Okay, then, and it was good. It was good that they got through that way.
Because 7 pages of it is my mayor's report.
Ah. Mystery solved.
So anytime I do a report like that, and this one is 6 pages, just so you're aware, I won't read it, but there's a lot going on.
Daryl, long time no see. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for dressing appropriately.
Monkey suit. So we'll just dive right into it. I hate to say the words, but I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't do it, Daryl.
I'm not gonna do it.
Looks good so far.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot going on in my world. I recently attended a course called Effective Command. So it's worldwide. So I am now, I was successful, so I can bring it back and then, roll it out to our officers, firefighters. So it's going to enhance their skills. I have to recert in this every year, but it was quite the entertaining course. So I call it IMS on steroids is the way I kind it.
Okay.
And mandatory certification, we are rolling it out here in Eganville. Not sure what happened with the RTC at Atomic Energy. It's just kind of stalled. So
I'm not gonna say I told you so,
well, we were,
but I told you so.
they must have tripped over the finish line or something, but I don't know
It's-
what's going on, we haven't heard anything.
Because it is a secure facility.
I know.
It is not. That is not where the RTC should be. It should be at Algonquin College. I think that you guys should pick up where Dave left off with Jamie Bramberger, rattle some cages and have it at Algonquin.
Well, the thing with it's right at the start when you go into the gate.
It doesn't
I
matter.
know, it doesn't make any sense to me, because if you go in there with 20 students, do a roll call for 20 students, if someone's missing, then you sound the alarm. I mean, they got barbed wire around the fence.
I'm just
So,
saying.
I know.
Even when they take us as county council, we all have to, we have our ID, we're put on a bus because they don't want all of us pulling in separately. We're all checked at the gate.
Yeah.
So it's a secure facility for a reason. And I think when it was first brought up, I said, it's probably never gonna happen. And here we are. And when I read your report, I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I think there are better places for it anyway.
Well, I mean, it's already built, and I think they wanted to, roll it out and, they do it as a revenue generator as well. And also give back to the volunteer service.
It's also not really up to the people that are there.
No,
So
the chief
I
is so
think if their
confident.
fire department had good intentions, that's lovely. But the people that run the facility were probably on the fence about allowing in sort of at random, because, I mean, you'd have a training schedule, but I never thought that it was, I know that they have the facility, but I never thought it was ideal. I think that there are better options, just because of the security,
Well, we'll see where it goes.
okay?
Well, all we can do is we'll just see what happens.
Yeah.
So we're moving forward, and we're gonna host it here. We have other
That's
departments coming
great.
in as well.
Mhm.
And we're gonna see how it goes from there. Just,
I-
and we have to keep moving on.
Yeah,
So I was in Kingston, I attended the PAC 6, which is now they're gonna rename the Zone 6. I guess people down that end don't know what PAC stands for. I do not know. It's Provincial Advisory Committee, so it confuses them.
you're probably the same zones as me and as Annette. Is your AMCT, oh, it's not,
They're close. They're very similar, but they're not
Okay.
identical. Yeah.
okay, because I'm zone 6 in Roma, so I'm just wondering if they were trying to, I didn't know what. the
No,
reason
that's
was.
not the story I got, and they say that our PAC 6 is actually one of the better PACs because we actually do get together.
Okay,
As fire chiefs and senior officers, and we collaborate all the time. The other PACs are not doing it as much, so they're gonna be taking a look at how we're doing, and maybe they're gonna start to mirror ours. I mean, it is a good day.
how many packs are there?
I don't know, more than 6,
More than 10?
probably,
Okay,
yeah,
all right,
so. And, we had 2 agreements with Algona. One was for extrication, one was for fire, but now that they're providing their own services, Chief Chapman, I decided to amalgamate the 2 into 1. So there wasn't an extra clause that went in, but it just makes more sense. So we're gonna do first response for extrication and fire in certain areas in our township, and they'll do the same in South Algona till we roll our so.
makes sense.
And again, the numbers were still at 19, we have 1 on leave, and we're still, that was one of the main focuses at the PAC 6 was, trying recruitment and retention for firefighters, but it seems like anyway, and for the PAC 6, we do have a presenter, and this year was all about SC or our bunker gear. And even though we have an extractor, they're telling us it's not good enough, so. We're clean, but it doesn't clean to the standard that they want now.
Do-
I'm sorry, I didn't want to,
You know what you just did.
yeah,
I
I know, but you could read it, so. it was
know,
in there.
but you know what you just did. It is one of the single most ridiculous provincial rules ever invented. So just so you're aware, turnout gear is only good for 10 years, whether you're a career firefighter or you use it 3 times over those 10 years. And so I challenged the deputy fire marshal at the time, who is now the deputy fire chief of Toronto. And he didn't have an answer for me, but basically blamed it on the Ministry of Labor, saying it was their rule, not the OFM's rule. And so my cheeky response is, so that if we order bunker gear, there must be little elves making it as we order it, because it can't sit on the shelf. Because what if we ordered it and it was sitting on a shelf for a year? So now it's only good for 9 years. So there are some really, really, really ridiculous rules that I've been saying this for probably 10 of my 14 years, but I'm actually ready to just hand the Sol Gen the keys to your rigs and tell the province that they can come and outfit at how much money? $2,200 a firefighter?
Where's bunker?
Yeah,
Probably 3,000,
great.
probably north of 3,000.
I,
So this really doesn't have to do with the shelf life, it has to do with the cleaning.
I know.
Yes, but it's all part and parcel.
It's all part and parcel. Like
Yeah, no, I know. It's frustrating for us as chiefs as well.
you woke the bear.
So,
And Annette and I know that we won't get another fire delegation with the Sol Gen.
okay, we'll move on to building. Happy thoughts, Jerry, happy thoughts.
I know, no, it's just,
I know.
it just drives me.
It's frustrating for us.
It's, yeah. And I want to do so much about it.
Yeah.
And I've put my neck on the line a lot of times, as of some of my colleagues, and it just doesn't get better. So now you almost have to laugh about it. But I feel bad for you guys when you come to this table and I look like my head's gonna pop off my body because I'm so ticked off with some of the things that the province does.
Yeah, no, like I said, it comes up at our chiefs meetings and then the PAC 6, everybody's just like, when's it gonna end?
Exactly.
So moving on to building, so October was a relatively good month. It's starting to slow down now. I do have one just came in today and one is pending and waiting for drawings, but other than that, I think it's gonna peter out.
We're going into those months. though,
Yeah,
right?
well,
Yeah.
yeah, so. So at the beginning of this year, we did implement a bylaw with regards to building without a permit, so I have been educated as best I can. So next year I will be heading into enforcement. So. And I'm still gonna, if we can work through it, we'll do, but it has to be at some point. They have to understand that it's gonna be enforced. So. I was in London.
John, you had a
Oh, sorry,
question?
John.
That's okay. The bylaw, that bylaw, would it be given for enforcement to our contractor eventually, or would that be something you'd do yourself?
No, I would enforce that myself.
Okay.
If that's what you're asking, yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've been letting everybody know. They have that.
Contractor.
But
Oh,
it's not a
I'm
bylaw.
sorry, you mean our bylaw company.
Yeah,
When we were talking about building and you said contractor, I thought you meant like,
oh no, sorry.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's something I would.
Yeah, for,
And they're in flux too right now because of the situation, so.
but Daryl, let me know if I'm wrong, but for building code, you have to be the enforcement for that, don't you?
Yeah, it's a building bylaw. and
Yeah.
it's- I enforce the
Yeah.
code. I can talk to them about, because whenever Jim, God rest his soul, him and I used to talk all the time about certain items, so,
Okay,
Just a quick question, is there not already a bylaw to build without a permit?
no. There is a provision in the building code, but there is nothing that it tells you about the roles and responsibilities of certain individuals. But this is above and beyond,
Alright.
so if I catch somebody, I have the ability to double their permit fees.
Cool.
So. I was in London for our OBOA Association conference, and the technical sessions were fantastic, as they usually are. The focus was on the merge between the OBC and the NBC. So there is 2,000 code changes coming. In 2025, January 1st, it's going to be the merge is happening. I can still go back on the old code until April 1st. Anything after that is going to be under the new code. So there's going to be a few books at my office. So,
Those would be for new permits issued.
yeah, for new permits, yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be next year when the date actually changes that.
Well, like I said, April 1st, then I have to start applying the
Yeah.
2025 code.
Yeah.
And there's been some significant changes.
Yep.
One was, big on radon. That's going to be, the rough-in kit now is going to have to be in until you get tested. It's just not going to be in the 3 zones that you had previously talked about.
so we talked about this at the AMO conference. And I mean, they used some examples like green technology, et cetera. Are there items that you've already pinpointed that you see we did not have to change from the OBC to the national?
No, I haven't, like, I don't think so. There's some stuff is good. What they've done is whatever the NBC and the OBC, if they look somewhat similar, they would take the most restrictive.
Okay,
So a lot of it's just the NBC is covering up what the OBC was maybe lacking a little bit,
yeah,
vice versa.
I did understand actually that we were missing a lot of things that nationally the building code had.
Yeah.
But
So that's gonna be basically what it is. There is some changes. They had proposed 17 to septic. They settled on 3. Wasn't really nothing, major change, but
Well, it aligns the densification too. Like just for some of your escapes and everything as
Yeah.
well. So I know like they're trying to line that. It's more bigger cities, to be honest,
yeah.
but
So,
okay, as long as you don't, I mean, 2,000 changes is ridiculous and it's gonna be onerous at the beginning,
yeah,
but
it will be.
as long as you don't, as long as this isn't your turnout gear.
I don't know if I'll, they come out every 5 years, and by the time they actually get implemented, we're looking at 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
I'm good. This is my last one.
in all fairness, the binder's this big already.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
But some of the changes can be from and or, it could be a comma, some
Yeah.
of them are just a little. Just
So it's the
verbiage.
language as well.
The language,
What an optimist you are.
yeah. Yeah,
yeah, Annette, go ahead.
Just have a quick question, just when you were talking about the radon, and I know you and I were discussing it the other day, and you said you not to, you only have to put the system in unless you've been tested. And I know the health unit was giving out test kits a few years ago, like I'm gonna say 6 years ago. And I'm wondering if there's any pushback to have the health unit give out those testing kits again, because if they put them out and you can get those kits, then you won't need to install this radon device. Is that correct, Daryl?
if you don't get over the levels, you don't need to. When I was in GM, we did a 100 house radon challenge 1 year. And 40% came back positive for over the 200 backfills.
Okay.
So I started informing contractors then that they should, I couldn't force them, but they should consider putting the rough-in kit now. It's just a pipe that comes out of the center of the slab. It usually goes underneath the stairs. Once you test, you send it away. It takes 3 months to test. You leave it in the basement somewhere away from a window. You send it out. If it comes back negative, you're good. If it comes back positive, it's just exhausted outside. That's all
Would
have
you
to
like me to check with the health unit?
do. Sure.
I sit on the Board of Health, so it's an easy ask.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Done.
And because of the code changes, the OBOA come up with this traveling roadshow. And so I was in Ottawa with over 100 other building officials, and they were giving us some highlights of the code.
Imagine that, a ministry decides to change something, but then they also offer training. That's amazing.
Yeah,
So I got my sassy pants on today.
sorry, I might have started that.
Well, it's gonna be a good Bears report, I'm sure.
Well, yes, it is.
Other than that, that's all.
Murray, you had a comment?
Just a question, mainly because you're the first here. I noticed coming in this morning, those little circular things that they have the little flags on the wire? It starts on Oxford Road, beyond that first farm, goes right down and goes right to where Eganville starts. I was wondering if there's one big survey or have you any idea? I was
No
going to.
idea.
It's
Just
fiber.
ask, just ask.
Again,
Jason.
Jason's gonna get us the next.
It's fiber.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea. I haven't been down that way in a while.
Yeah, no, I just noticed it coming in today. And for some reason, there's a row of them at the fence line and a row of them at the shoulder
Yeah,
of the
it's
road.
It's fiber.
Eh?
It's
Fiber.
fiber,
Fiber optic.
like fiber with,
The fiber's going out that? Yeah. Okay.
It's going in a lot of places.
It'd be a great place to start a rumor. We're running water out there to get a subdivision going.
Perfect.
Yeah, I have been
That's bad.
receiving phone calls about it.
I'm not even responding.
Any other questions for Daryl before we leave? Daryl, have a great day. Thank you for
Daryl.
dressing up. You've set expectations for the
Yeah.
next meeting now. That's perfect.
Hey,
And
Jason,
just,
where's your suit?
Jason, just so you know, Daryl already put me in a bad mood.
I do that by crying.
Jason, go ahead, sir. Hello, everyone.
So as you can see in the report, our Thursday open days for 2 hours. At Snowdippers was, I think, very successful with the numbers.
Yeah, it's a lot higher, it was a lot higher turnout than I figured it was gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice
It
to
was
see.
good, it was really good.
That is good.
And you know, even not a whole lot of free passes compared to the numbers that came in, right?
Yeah, but still, like, I was actually surprised with the amount of free pass as well, like 21, like that was actually quite,
Yeah,
quite good,
yes,
really good.
yes.
Yeah, because if we're sending them out, I'm glad people are using them.
Well, yeah,
Because I'm the worst. I'll take my tax bill out and I'll throw the envelope in the firebox. And then I don't have my free pass.
right,
It's just good to know that people are using them for diversion as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Our winter hours, the sites have changed in October 15th. Our fall leaf pickup will be on November 13th in town. The leaves must be put into biodegradable compostable bags. For us to pick up. Employee training, our Alex from Massanutten has completed his grader training course. Arthur and Christopher Conta have completed their chainsaw training.
Excellent.
5, mulcher head purchase request. So this came across my desk, I believe about 3 weeks ago to a month. So it is a used item. It is more like a drum with solid carbide teeth on it.
Okay.
So this unit actually will break the trees down into smaller pieces when it's chipped, like when it's mulched. It actually, you could start on a tree this big and it will just chew it to nothing.
Oh,
So is kind of the intent on that is to send that through first? And
Well-
then send our grass or,
Yeah, so we would generally go with the grass cutter first throughout the summer. And then in the fall, now we would be out with this, taking back the brush.
Get to the brush.
Yes,
okay. Well, I'm all for good sight lines, especially at this time of year.
right.
But the thing that I really like the most about your report is how you mitigated the cost. I like the idea that you had this money in your budget and you're not using it. And I would much rather see it get used for something, because we did tax for it. And I love the idea of how you're gonna fund this piece of equipment. And if it's going to be useful to you, I think this is brilliant.
Sure, thank you.
Thoughts?
no, I was just curious on the intent of it, because the other one we purchased, that was about 3 years ago, I guess.
Yes,
But that one, it's not large enough for, like, we were running in a lot of larger trees when the leaves pretty much leave.
yes, so what's going on is we're dealing with, because we were backlogged for a few years
Yeah.
with our equipment being broke down. The trees have gotten bigger.
Mhm.
We're dealing with maples, oaks,
Oh.
ironwood, like harder material, you know, other than sumac and, you know, softer maple,
Mhm.
poplar and that kind of stuff, right? So,
So yeah, okay, no, that's
And
just,
And not little saplings anymore.
no, like and
Yeah.
this here, like our grass cutter will do up to 4 inches. But it's softer materials. This is, they're saying 10 inches. But you know,
Yeah.
it's more for hardwood and that kind of stuff, right?
no, I have no issues with it, as long as we're gonna utilize it, it sounds like
Right.
we will, so I'm fine with that, I can see the purpose on it, I was just curious on the other one.
Yeah.
That's all.
We have had some issues with, because of the hardwoods cutting. It has actually blew one of the main discs underneath right out, like pieces.
Sounds good, no, I'm fine with it, Jason, makes
No
sense,
problem.
thanks for breaking it down.
Well done.
John,
I don't pretend to remember every line of Sandra's check register, but there's a company there, something grinding. But is that the Snowdrifter site grinding?
Yes,
Okay,
It's national grinding.
National Grind.
actually, it was It was.
Oh.
Sitter this time,
You're right.
Yes.
You are correct, sir.
yes. They come in, depending on the pile, 2 days. And the product is very small. Which helps it break down quicker.
So there again, people using their free pass for their bulky stuff. It's out of our normal waste site or our transfer stations and then grinding. Then they come in, they grind it's even smaller, which keeps our construction and demolition waste site open longer.
So then you would have, I guess, the three heads then. You would have the stump grinder, this one for all the, like, for all the wood material, and you have the brush cutter we just got a couple years ago.
Yeah,
So
so
those are the
actually,
three attachments.
so we don't have a stump grinder, but this particular item, if there's no rocks in the ground, you can actually go into the ground a little bit and take the stump down.
We have a lot of rocks here.
I know, that's a lot of the issue, right?
Your ground material is snow drifters, can you still stock, pile some up there, or are you taking it out over for
No, we're still good.
cover
We're
material?
still good at snow drifters for roughly around 4 years. So things are working out quite well. It was actually, we did a survey on it and it actually shrunk over time. So we've been able to add some more on top.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, so it has added to a bit of the life of it. So waste to Resource Ontario. There are amendments that for Ontario producers and responsibilities under this. And so the regulations are affected by proposed amendments, tire regulations, battery, electrical and electronic regulations, and hazardous and special products regulations. So what they're trying to offset the producers to replace permanent collection sites.
But why?
Um,
I have so many questions on this item. I'm baffled. And if you've got your discussion item as a discussion pertaining to the possibility of collection events versus depots.
yeah. So,
Now I have to remember on this day, twice a year, that, like, I really stood behind the idea of opening that the HHW
Correct.
depot at Sand.
yes,
And I think collection events are going to be just as confusing to people as those 2 days a month that we used to have, or 2 days a year that we used to have. Where in the spring and in the fall, where you had to remember on April 18th to bring your paint cans and your
yes,
propane tanks.
it's way more convenient to have it open every Saturday.
Okay, can we just leave it at that?
Well,
It's not broke, don't fix it.
that's right. We'll see how the rest of the like the ministry comes up with any ideas, and we can definitely put our.
Okay, but for now,
put
we're
it- Oh,
good.
yes, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's closed now, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because every time, Jason, every time, it would be the Sunday, and Dave and I would look at each other and say, when was that? When were we supposed to take our paint cans? It was yesterday.
That's right.
Yeah,
Then you miss it in the fall again.
and you make that mistake for a couple of years, and then your basement's filled with paint cans.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, and your garage is filled with propane, little propane tanks. Okay, but so for now, we can leave it.
Yes,
Excellent, because the convenience not only to the ratepayers, but also to your staff, I think is brilliant.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just make it.
Go ahead, Annette.
So, Jason and Dana and myself have been following this, this has been going on for probably 7 or 8 years now. And yeah, we have definitely brought forward the rural perspective, we brought forward the convenience, we continue to push back. And that's, at this point, that's all we can do. The province is under a lot of pressure from the producers who are gonna be paying for all of these things. And they're looking for ways to save money, but some of the proposals that we took forward, he said, but this, this does save you money. Like you know what I mean? So what I'm proposing is more efficient and actually going to save you money but you can't see it because you're, again, they don't have that rural lens. And so, like, in some instances, I think they're going to, I hope they don't, but I think they're going to make some decisions. And we will bring them forward as each of them comes forward. And we continue to have those discussions and we continue to push back. But if,
What's the stipulation on collection events though that they're currently talking about? Like,
No.
so like, why could you not just have a collection event every Saturday?
because they may not
At
want.
the Sand Road Wayside.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I totally agree. But at this point, they want to have less depots to collect from. They're not seeing the whole picture. And so and I've tried to explain to you as a rural municipality, so what they're doing is they're looking at us and they're saying, well, you only have like 3,000 residents. What's the problem? Why do you need this many waste sites? Why do you need this? Why do you need that? Why can't we do this? And so I'm pushing back and saying, you're not understanding how much we grow in our seasonal residents. I said, if you
Absolutely.
look at our sites, they're all pretty much like attached to like a lake or, a campground or cottages or. I said, you're not dealing with 3,000 people, you're probably dealing with 10 to 15,000 people.
And the geographic nature of our municipality.
Yes, how large and how spread out we are. And I said, convenience, as Jason said, is the key to recycling. And so if you start saying recycling won't be picked up at this site, hazardous waste won't be at this site, this is not happening at this site. I said, all you're going to do is now the people are going to bring it all in the garbage
Yep.
and throw it out because they're not going to different sites to do these
Yep.
things. And so this probably how the mayor feels about fire is how I feel about waste. So I'll try and calm down. So, yeah, I'm very passionate about it and I don't like all of the decisions that they're making. And I think there are ways we could work better together and we are continuing to do that. And we will continue to do that as the province, makes suggestions going forward. Now, I have to say, they have been good to consult. They have been very good to have conversations. Whether that changes anything at the end of the day, I don't know, but I do feel like I think Dana is attending 1 to 2 meetings a week on this. And
Oh.
I was doing it before that. And I said, I cannot make it to all these meetings. I said, can you take these on, Dana? I said, I will be there. I will help out. If you're having a phone call one-on-one, same with Jason, it's 2 meetings a week, like 1 on collections and 1 on depots. And we have to do both. And so they're doing a great job to constantly talk about stuff, constantly consult, constantly take it back. I just don't know at the end of the day, because the producers are very loud and very powerful, if we're going to make it to where we need to go. But they're gonna find out. The sad part is they're gonna find out when they force us into things like this. Oh, it's not working. We're not making our targets. And when they don't make their targets, they get charged penalty by the province. So at the end of the day, I think they're gonna have to come on side. They're gonna have to realize there's a reason why we do things the way we do, because you're not gonna get the tonnage. And then you're gonna be penalized by the province, so you might as well just leave it at the waysides and make it convenient, because that's the only way people are gonna do it.
Well, I remember the very first day that HHW Depot was open. And I was shocked and dismayed by the amount of materials that was coming in.
Mhm.
So we knew that day.
Yeah.
Previously, all of that stuff was going into our waste sites. So I don't know what see, now I'm getting all
I know,
hot-headed
sorry.
about waste.
Yeah, no, waste is, yeah, so
But you're right.
I just wanted to.
We even know from the look of the
Yeah.
garbage truck previously where it would have paint all over it because people were putting paint cans with paint in it. So it's so see, yeah,
So this is
look what
just,
you've done.
this is just another, it's just another heads up, and I know, at the next meeting, I'm going to be bringing forward in my report some of the delegation suggestions that I have for the Roma. This might be one of them,
We still haven't done
yeah.
Jason's plow operator.
Okay.
So that would be with,
Yeah, we're supposed to meet with that
with,
outside, and we haven't yet. I'll
no.
reach back out to them and ask.
was that with Parm?
I think so.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that this Roma. We'll meet with the Minister of Transportation.
Well, we requested it at AMO, and they said we'll meet we'll meet, not as a delegation, we'll meet, and so I said set up a meeting, but they haven't gotten back to me yet.
And I talked to Kinga Surma about it, and she said, it's not her thing, because she's
Right.
infrastructure. but she has a good relationship with transportation, and I want to get it on somebody's docket.
Okay, I'll follow up on that.
Okay,
So
cool.
pretty much for the Waste to Resource Ontario information item, Jason, you'll just let us know when changes. Do we have an expectation, when we're gonna get an update on that whole file? Like, when are they done actually consulting though?
I don't have a deadline date of when they're done consulting, so in 2025, we transitioned, but we signed
Yeah.
agreements. So we're gonna continue and we're just going to continue to take the grant money and we're gonna continue to provide the services. So 2025, nothing's gonna change.
Yep.
2026 is when the province takes over our recycling.
Yep.
And now they're talking about they're taking over our tires, the rest. So whether that will all transition in 2026 is possible. So we will definitely have a report back sometime in 2025 on what the outcome is going to be for 2026. Because they are calling us back. They know, they're, like I said, Dana and Jason and I had a meeting with them about it already. And the contract's been awarded, so we could be subcontracted, but we're still working out those terms. So sometime in 2025, before the turnover of 2026, Jason and Dana and I will have a report.
Sounds good. And then for the mulcher head, everyone's good with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect, thanks.
Thank you.
Jason?
Yes.
Murph, go ahead.
No, just one question, be catty. How come you have a rough road sign on Saddle Road, just off of Ruby Road? I mean, it's nicely paved to me.
Yeah, we have to get up there and remove the sign, Mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should have thrown in your SUV on the way down, Murph.
Hey,
Team player.
I can pick it up.
It-
Wetland Road
yeah,
correspondence.
Yes, just on correspondence on Wetland Road, just for, I believe that's reopening. The road
Did you
allowance.
see that?
Did you see that correspondence? Or
Okay.
just on do you have any questions or comments on it?
Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank
It
you.
seems straightforward, to be
It
honest.
did reach you, but
Annette,
I just want to be clear when we're saying, Jason, when Jason and I discussed it, and Jason, you correct me if I'm wrong, we thought that a lease would be best. Is that correct? Okay, just in case maybe that was clear to everybody else, I just wanted to make sure.
I'm fine with that.
doesn't change anything.
No, it doesn't.
No,
It's
but
okay.
we wouldn't be closing it and selling it, we wouldn't be opening it, and as a seasonal road, we would be leasing it
It's
to.
a lease agreement, no
Yeah.
different than the one we set up with
Correct.
Kavanaugh.
Correct.
So that's
Yeah.
how I interpret it.
Okay, perfect,
Yeah.
as long as everybody understood that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It made
Okay.
sense and it seems
Well,
straightforward.
the Kavanaugh one is in tonight.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay,
That's, as long as you're okay, I think we were okay.
okay,
Okay,
thank you.
perfect. Well,
Goodie.
Jason, have yourself a great day.
That's that one? That's Pearson?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Question answered.
Perfect, thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah,
take care, have a good one.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks.
It's very nice when
just seeing,
staff,
just seeing Daryl's here.
Yeah. Thank you or not.
nice when staff anticipate what we need and they have it all fixed up by the time we get here.
I just like the reporting
No, I-
now even better with, they give us information.
And then I can
but
just move on to
discussion
correspondence.
Yeah, I'll text
Just
him
send
and
him a
see if he knows,
text and
yeah.
then when we see Daryl will come in.
Will do.
It's fine.
Thank you.
So we'll just wait till Daryl's in, but we'll go into correspondence, keep everything
Yeah.
going. Any comments or for correspondence A?
So I just wanted to say that from now on, instead of including Dr. Morgenstern's report or snippets of his report in my mayor's report, from now on, after a Board of Health meeting, I've asked that we receive just his report. So you don't have to wade through the entire Board of Health agenda. And I'm going to attach it as information so that you know what's going on with opioid strategies, Heart Hub, MESA, et cetera.
No, makes sense. Perfect, no comments. Okay, so correspondence A.
And the Roma update number 8 is covered in your report as well?
Yes,
Okay, that's good.
yeah, I have. Yeah. Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Perfect. Correspondence B.
So, in my notes I've got for the updates to the Municipal Elections Act, is this something that's important to you, Annette?
Any big changes?
Like, really, it doesn't affect it doesn't affect elected as much as it affects staff. So if staff want us, why don't we table this piece of correspondence?
I'll bring it back and see.
Yeah, no, that's a great.
Oh!
Is that okay?
suggestion.
Next
Yeah,
time?
Yes.
Okay.
very much appreciate. that.
Wow, look at
Very
that.
clever.
And you made Fred happy.
That was my goal in 2024, was get 2 items to qualify. Wait till my 2025 goal.
You have huge goals.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
no, I appreciate that. Perfect. Jennifer, you were saying?
All right, so, family doctors resolutions, I think we've beat this to a pulp. That we are not, probably not getting family docs in small villages, but we are going after nurse practitioners and our paramedic service, which we've talked about. I would say we leave this alone, and see what happens. The Green Roads pilot project, I am neither here nor there.
The forest sector one makes sense as
Yes.
before, just because the pulp mills are completely being decimated, so.
100%, I had that, please let's
So you
support that.
have to.
Oh, I just had an update. Rural road safety, I would prefer, to table this until the county rewrites it. My one issue, well, I've got several issues with it, but my biggest issue with this resolution is it without any facts attached to it, saying rural roads are inherently more dangerous. There's no data to support that.
Wasn't it about 10 years ago, we got a little money, sent the crews out to wipe off the stop signs and all that nonsense? Were you mayor then?
The reflexology, yeah, we have to test it.
Yeah, we
That's,
got-
that's the
No,
reflective gun at the county.
no, I thought we had to send a crew out and wash off the stop signs and the yield signs and.
I don't know, Mert, but you look into that, let us know.
I have no idea.
That was about 10 or 15 years ago.
It'd be 15 because it'd be before me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So anyway, I want to see what language the county comes up with to support a resolution before we pass this one, if it's okay with
So
everyone else.
corresponded C, December 5th.
There you have it.
Well, what I would actually recommend
Oh.
is you'd have it pending correspondence C, so we would just carry it forward, and every time the chair would just follow up with the correspondence C. So we'll just put it, it's more like a pending, right?
You're amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So we're always
Um,
guaranteed to have correspondence C every
Apparently,
meeting.
yep.
At every
So
meeting,
it is.
which is his goal as a deputy mayor.
I haven't said my 2025 goal, but
I will just double check the procedural to make sure that a correspondence C doesn't have to be to a specific meeting. If it does, then I'll add this.
well,
Oh.
it was actually one of my, December
Yeah.
1st meeting works, because that will be my gift to the new chair on
Okay,
the December 1st.
Oh,
all right.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds like great.
Look
Let
at
us know,
you.
Annette.
Yeah, I'll just double check that.
I'll look into correspondence C filing as well,
Yeah.
myself.
Okay, so I think the fair share resolution is probably the most important thing on our docket, on our correspondence docket. I was just gonna give you a few stats. So in our 444 municipalities, we operate infrastructure in excess of $484 billion. The estimated cost to bring existing municipal assets to a state of good repair, just good, is 52 billion. I've got a whole bunch of stats on this. I'm not gonna read them all. Obviously, property taxes are not capable of funding all of our infrastructure needs. In the last 5 years, municipal property taxpayers have seen a 200% increase in cost to support homelessness services. There's so much here. I think I overdid this. Basically, in 2022, 4.48 billion in land transfer tax was collected by the province of Ontario. So what this resolution is requesting, of course, is that the municipality gets the land transfer tax, which of course we don't have. Toronto has their own. So we would ask that any transfers of homes or businesses in our municipality, those monies would stay here. I think it's an important thing to, an important resolution to not only endorse, but I think also speak to at Roma and AMO and anywhere else we can. So that's my pitch for that resolution. And of course, it doesn't have to be today, but I would like it done. I am so excited, guys. Phone On is collecting the information for me for the OPP. This is great. Yay. Good news. Okay, so that's all I had today. Anybody else have anything else?
So for that one, Annette, can we do that one? I wanna just go through the wording on this bit, like if we're gonna support it or
Sure.
and stuff like that. Can you just
Okay.
bring that for the next meeting? I have no issues with portions of it. I just wanna look into actual.
Yeah.
Before I support it, that's all.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
for correspondence C, FYI, it has to go to the next meeting.
Oh,
So
that's fine, because
all
I
of them
can
have to
carry
go to
it
the next
forward
meeting, yeah,
every
and then
single
they can go to
time
the next
and
meeting, and then it
discuss
can go to
it.
the next meeting, correct?
Yeah, that one, it's just some of the wording on it, I just.
You know what, it is clunky, you're not wrong.
No, and just
Yeah.
especially like, I fully get like the land transfer tax, you can fully eliminate, I agree with that. But if the money's gonna go anywhere, I don't need it to go federal government, provincial, it should be stay here, it should be stayed locally. That's where I get from, like, I'm no fan of all these extra taxes.
But
It's
that's what
annoying.
this is, but the language
Yeah.
is clunky, you're not
No,
wrong.
and that's where
Yeah.
it just, I just wanna make sure, I don't want to go through more bureaucracy or
Yeah.
bureaucrats, I just want to go straight to our municipality, which makes sense, that's what we want.
Okay, so those three items will come back to correspondence C.
This is a great day. Annette.
Hey, and you know, in your heart of hearts, this is absolutely going to drum up the local share 1% on the HST.
Yeah.
That's what this is gonna do. It's
So-
gonna rile people up.
So 1, 5, and 6 are going to correspondence C, and number 4 is being supported, is what I've got written.
Yes.
Yes, is that gonna be supported, do we have the resolution done for this evening?
No, I
No.
don't.
Oh, okay, sounds good, we
So
can do it
it'll
for
be
the next
November,
meeting,
yeah.
that's fine.
Did anyone else get that email, fair share? The request? It came to me, I thought everybody got it.
I
I was
got
just
it,
curious.
I got it at county.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those ones, they just send it, they just BC everyone on it, I don't know.
Yeah, I know,
I can let
just-
you know after the meeting, I'll go through the
Yeah,
specific
I was just
email.
curious.
No, it's very, I know, sometimes it looks like you're the only one getting.
Yeah.
Don?
So the growing list of items in correspondence C, is that gonna fall into the lap of the next deputy mayor? If we don't get it done next meeting?
Yes.
Potentially,
Okay.
it's a lot more work.
Hashtag life goals, eh, Brent?
Wait, we haven't been through the meeting yet, I have other items that.
Let's keep going, let's keep going.
And then number 8 and 9 is.
Yes, okay, so. So we received, I received correspondence from one of our residents about a crosswalk, being done for veterans. First of all, it's a lovely idea. I'm not sure why the email says reconsideration, because it's actually never come to the table before, but anyway. The first thing I want to point out is that it absolutely cannot go at the crosswalk on 60, because there's no diversion. The MTO wouldn't let us shut down that road even if we asked. So, I mean, to paint this whole thing, right? So it would have to go on the courtesy crosswalk on 41, where we could divert around on the Gristmill Bridge. That being said, I have concerns about the paint that they're using for these, Pride, Indigenous, all of it. It's not road paint with the glass in it, so it's a little hardier, which, by the way, that paint's very expensive. So what they're using is just a general construction paint.
Regular paint.
Yeah, so what I don't wanna see is that our plows, and it's actually not our plows on 41, it's provincial plows. I would hate to see what it would look like after a bad winter with sand and salt and plowing. All that being said, I actually spoke to Mayor Service of Petawawa yesterday morning. It was on their docket, and by the way, the email was incorrect. Petawawa has not done it yet. In fact, they were voting on it last night. I have no doubt it probably passed, but with your indulgence, since we're too late this year anyway, Remembrance Day is actually 6 days away. I was wondering if perhaps we wait until April, ask Petawawa what theirs looks like, and then make a decision.
So then I was also looking at it as, so I'm not, I find painting, it just gets wore down, and it's not the
I
image that
know.
we're trying to present, it's not permanent in my opinion. But I said, why could there not be an alternative for, so like remembrance, so we have Legion Field, for example. So we have, we have a project, but you have your entryway there for it, and us and then we put in, so April's fine. But we figure out what we want to do at the entryway, there's signage, repaint that signage, and then if you want to put something there, there's less traffic load, right?
That's exactly what Tracy and I said last week.
Yeah, because it makes the most, it's the logical sense, and then that's all I was looking at.
There's other ways to commemorate without doing something that could be harmed in one season. But I get the passion behind
I
it.
don't like the idea of driving over it or
Yeah.
like plows and salt and
Yeah.
sand, and I don't disagree with your idea. But Tracy and I actually said on the building.
Like a mural, like we've started, Laurel and a group of artists have started all these beautiful murals, sorry, there could be something. Maybe we seek funding for, I don't know, or fundraising
Yeah,
to commemorate at Legion Field, you know.
Yeah, like
perhaps.
I think of like the main, like the actual like main metal that when you enter it, right? Like the Legion Field, it'd be incorporate something there.
Yeah,
I would
spruce it
think.
up.
I'm all
It's just
for
the
it.
first, it's not going anywhere, it's steel, it's gonna outlive.
And
all of
spruce it
us.
all up to make it nice.
Exactly.
Oh,
That's what I'm talking. So
on
actually-
art.
Yes, so
Yeah.
like the actual.
Oh,
arch,
that's a lovely
Cause
idea.
I figured that would be a lot, it's long standing, it's simple,
Yeah.
simpler.
Yeah.
And I think it's a simpler
it's-
solution.
It's striking even if you don't.
And then
turn
when you're,
into
and then when you're talking
Right.
about hanging, yeah, so that's what I would.
That's a
say.
much nicer
And that
idea.
could be a collaboration with them. I think that's a simple objective for us to achieve
Okay.
together.
Okay, so no to the crosswalk, but yes to working on some sort of artwork at Legion Field.
Well,
Yeah.
I think this to assess in April, like you said, there's two things, right?
Yeah,
Assess,
I want to see
And
how
then-
Petawawa's looks.
Identify
So I
alternatives.
wasn't, I wasn't saying artwork. What I was saying is we refurbish the entryway.
Yeah.
So that could be with.
Which could be done
artwork,
anyway.
Or it could be something as simple as, hey, maybe we have the banners in town.
Mhm.
Maybe we add 2 additional banners with
Okay,
your
yeah.
plans
Yeah.
on both sides of the entryway
Okay.
to spruce it up. So all I was saying is repainting pretty much that Legion Field entryway, and if we want, put your mounting clamps on both sides of it with 2 additional banners as well.
Yeah. Okay,
But I like the idea of the entry, if the one in Petawawa lasts, the one
You could do your sidewalk
You
there,
could do
sidewalk to
those-
sidewalk.
exactly, which means no permission from the MTO.
Mhm.
They're,
It's,
they
it's
might
it's the
plow.
recurring cost of it, we just have to, that I'm curious.
but-
I'm not,
but
you're
I-
not trying to be the negative Nancy here,
No,
but
but
I look at
I
it
don't
and say,
look awful after
No, and
one
that's-
season.
but that's where I think the first step and the first approach, if it collaboratively works well with the group, then we can look at something else after that.
Yeah,
so, okay, so 2 issues, so we're not saying no to the crosswalk.
No.
but we're gonna go ahead and do the entranceway on Legion Field.
I think we should.
So the problem that we have with that is we cannot touch the crosswalk at BMO, we can't touch it. So that one can't be done. So we would have to do a new crosswalk somewhere, which could be at Veterans Way or something like that. But if you want to do a crosswalk, the good news is that the transportation master plan through the county is looking at all of our crosswalks, looking at all of our community right now and giving recommendations, which are coming out shortly. So if we want to do a crosswalk, I would suggest that we ask them, Aegis, to add it to their recommendation to say, this is the location of somewhere around Veterans Way or Legion's Field or wherever you want to put it. This is where we would like you to look at. We would like to get a recommendation back from Aegis to say, this is where it should go.
For a cross, so what I was looking at, so I originally, when I was looking at it, the first step, in my opinion, would be, I guess beautifying the metal that we already have there that says
Yeah,
Legion.
The
Field.
arch.
And then when you're talking about a crosswalk, it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be, in my opinion, on 41 or any special
Mhm.
like that end, but the entry before that signage, if we're gonna look at it from that sidewalk on that side at the entrance of the infield. So
Right.
you wouldn't actually cross your 41.
Mhm.
That's all I was getting at.
No,
So
it's, it's a way better
That
idea.
would be
If
municipal.
that's what I'm saying. So we're
Yeah.
saying no to the crosswalk. We're saying yes to doing the entrance at Legion Field.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay,
Why don't we
Not
put it out to
even-
our community of residents to get pulled for ideas or our local artist group as a
Oh.
future project?
Yeah,
Yeah, but all I'm trying to get to is, we're not doing a crosswalk, we're doing the thing at Legion Field.
Correct.
okay, but so if Petawawa lasts and it doesn't look disrespectful to veterans in the spring,
Mhm.
then I love the idea of under the archway that we do
Yes,
a
okay.
crosswalk.
But we're not doing.
But if the one in Pet,
Okay.
you know, dies an uncertain death
Mhm.
because of plows
Yeah.
or salt,
Mhm.
then no, I like the idea that Tracy and I talked about last week, which was, why don't we do something on the building
Yeah,
at Legion
okay.
Field?
Well, I
Okay,
think
but
that'd
we're
be the
not
next step.
Sorry.
Or anything, that's not specific, it could be like a graffiti wall we put up, the
Yeah,
kids are
abs-
involved.
But we're not
that's it.
looking at a crosswalk
community.
anywhere else. The only spot would be at Legion Field in the entrance.
Yeah, I think, I don't
Because if
know,
we're looking at it
Yeah,
somewhere else,
there's-
now is the time, we
there's no-
paid Aegis, we should be talking to them.
What about the Legion, is there anything around there that could be done?
Yes, but I think we should ask Aegis if that's what we wanna do, but if that's not what we're doing, I'm not, you know what I mean, I'm not gonna waste their time to go look at it.
I would say that the Legion, like the entrance to Legion Field would make the most sense, in my opinion.
I agree.
Especially for me, yeah, it just makes sense.
From a maintenance perspective, it makes sense.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, but I don't want us to come back in April and go, well, now we wanna do a crosswalk over by the Legion. And now Aegis has done the transportation plan, and now I'm going to have to pay a consultant to go look at that to make sure that that's where we should be putting it.
But does it, I guess, I just wanna clarify, does it need to be a crosswalk, like we're talking about at Legion Field, it could be just.
Not at Legion Field.
Okay.
If we're moving over to Legion Field, I have no issues,
No,
but
you already have your, like, all your main crosswalks right now. You
Okay.
have like
I-
4160 transfer and.
I like the idea of Legion Field more
Okay.
than the Legion,
Mhm.
okay,
because you just said it. If we spruce up, as Brent said, the arch and we do something there, it's very visible.
okay.
Well, the farmers markets are there, the kids games are there,
Exactly.
you're appealing to the next
And
generation.
it fits in
Right.
with our plan, to put in other places.
And that would be in
We're
collaboration.
gonna make that a go-to
Yes,
place.
perfect. Thank you.
I love this. This is a way better option.
Perfect. That's great.
And then collaboration as well, there's other things that we can review on a later date. Okay,
Perfect, thank you.
next one,
So Enbridge sent a note to Annette and I this morning. They're doing, meet and greets, ask your questions. At the Eagles Nest on November 13th and 14th from 1 PM to 7 PM. And that was just for your information.
what's the date again, Jen?
November 13th and 14th.
Yeah.
So Wednesday and Thursday.
No, I had someone call me about that yesterday, that's why I was curious.
We will be posting it too. We're just waiting for they're gonna be putting an advertisement in, and we're looking for their information to put on our Facebook page as well.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Julio,
We just don't have it yet.
okay.
That is everything until Daryl's report on new and finished business. Do you want to just take maybe 5 minutes?
Yeah,
Sure.
sounds good.
We are back on.
Thank you for bringing us back on. So we'll move on to the, just so that everyone knows, Daryl Verge, won't be here today. Does anyone have any questions or comments about his report? It's lengthy, so.
I just want to thank Darrell and Andrew Polly for putting in so much work.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I mean, Andrew is an excellent asset to have, and he and Darrell work very well together, so.
Water's
thanks.
very important, as we know.
Yes, it is.
Nope, that's
I'm surprised
perfect.
Andrew's still at it. He's gotta be getting up there.
I think he loves it.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to work full time, but I think he, he's a natural and he loves it, so.
And I love it when Merv says, he must be getting up there.
I was trying to think.
Aren't we all?
And rephrase that, when I got on South Dakota Council in 1997, he was inspecting waste sites.
Wow. Okay, well, that is long serving.
No,
Lots of experience.
perfect. So if there's no questions, then,
There's a resolution for this evening to adopt the operations plan as owners of the facility. And if there's any questions, I'll certainly bring them back to Daryl. And
I didn't flag anything that I thought was of concern.
Okay,
no, it's straightforward.
thanks.
It was boring, but it was straightforward. No offense to our
Very well
amazing
written.
staff.
Actually, I enjoyed the new part that you added in this year.
Okay.
So
It was like
next
the
year, just
report
add
that
another one.
wouldn't end.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's just we do our review and we have our meeting ahead of time. And then they go through the rest. And so the auditor said that council should be seeing that you're meeting and that you're reviewing these policies
Yep.
and your QMS stuff. So I was, okay, no problem.
Tell the auditor to mind their own beeswax.
Well, and that's why I thought it was a different QMS, I
Yeah.
just thought it was a different component that we're hitting, and that's why. I
Yeah,
asked.
you got some additional
Perfect.
information.
So we'll move on to new unfinished business. So, we have a CIP application for Bloom Widely.
Yes,
So I think it makes sense. They had all the quotations, so I'm fine moving forward with that.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Aye.
John, good?
Yeah, what is the time frame for that? Is that all year? Is it a certain, like
So
for people
we're-
to
so-
apply?
So if this one gets
It's-
approved tonight by resolution, then this fund is spent this year.
Okay,
So anyone who applies going forward now will have to wait
Wait
till
till next
twenty
year?
twenty-five.
yeah, so it's first come, first served,
Yep.
and whatever we
Actually,
budget for.
wondering what the time frame was.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
that's good.
you can still apply
Hey, it
anytime.
lasted us all the way into November. That's pretty good.
Mhm.
And I'm glad all the money's got spent.
Yeah, now if this
Yeah.
one gets approved, they'll be
That's good.
pretty much all gone. There's a little bit left there, but not a
Okay.
ton. So, but anyone can still apply.
Yeah,
We just would put it off to see what happens in the 2025 budget.
Good, sounds good. We had 2025 OPP billing. We'll discuss that in the mayor's report. Now we will move on to establishing the next meeting.
You're funny.
So move on to 8.3 mayor's report.
All right, so bear with me. Since my last report, I attended 21 meetings and a few events, and I'll give you the highlights. On Monday, October 28th, we had a special meeting of county council, which focused on changes to our procedural bylaw, the long-term financial plan, and asset management plan. The biggest part of this was the changes in our procedural bylaw include a committee of the whole structure for our committee meetings, and now 2 county council meetings per month as opposed to 1. These significant changes will mean more work for county councilors in preparation and during meetings. However, our meetings should be more efficient and result in faster decision-making for time-sensitive matters. The proposed changes, such as the warden term being 2 years as opposed to 1 year, and the amalgamation of 2 committees into 1 did not pass. So this is extremely significant. The last time we made a change was a couple of terms ago where we took our 5 committee days and we got them down to 3, where you had 2 committees per day. 2 county council meetings a month is gonna be a lot, but I think it is absolutely the way to go.
Yeah.
But it's, what?
Are you keeping the accessibility advisory committee?
Oh, you are so bad. You are so bad. Yes, we are.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Anyway, so the idea was that we were going to blend community services and health. That didn't pass. Warden term being 2 year, that didn't pass. Because it was noted that a lot of us have done 3 years. So if it was a 2-year term, you'd be doing 4 years. I was torn. Honestly, it wasn't a hill I was willing to die on, so. While reviewing long-term financial plan, we also pre-approved some infrastructure and equipment requests for proposals ahead of the 2025 budget. The reasoning for this change is in the hope that we will receive favorable pricing and a longer season to rehabilitate or make repairs to our infrastructure. Also, the lead time on procuring ambulances is very long, so this change should ensure that we receive the rigs in the same year we budget. Fingers crossed. On October 30th, we had a county council meeting. We had 2 delegations, one from One Investments, which we will be looking into further, and the other was Family and Children's Services, which was one of the hardest things to listen to ever. And we are doing some advocacy work about around getting them some further funding. Since March, the Mesa paramedic team had approximately 1,480 encounters. Most of those, the majority of them were in Pembroke. Mesa continues to be collaborative with our caseworkers, community mental health, McKay Manor, RDH, and the Community Services Department. We passed a resolution in relation to child welfare funding. We discussed dual purpose transit solutions, including convening a meeting amongst all local and regional suppliers. Transportation has come up at, sort of every meeting. As you all know, it's an enormous challenge in rural Ontario. And for our purposes, we reinstated the speed limit of 80 kilometers an hour on the section of 512 that was rehabilitated, where we lowered it to 60. So now people will be doing 120 instead of 100, I guess.
Just past your place.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions on those 2 county council meetings? Okay, because some of the stuff that went on is significant. And as we said, when we changed to the 3-day model, if it blows up in our face, we can always go back. But for now, we're gonna do this as a tri-Z. I generally read all the packages anyway, so I'm not that concerned about myself. However, I'm not gonna lie, I do focus more on the committees I'm on. So it'll be a change, but I'll let you know how it goes. So Roma met on October 18th. As you all know, our conference is the 19th to the 22nd of January. Rural Ontario Institute was a delegation, and there's some information in my report. I brought forward the concerns with the new OPP billing, which led to the board having a lengthy discussion. We were among many rural municipal leaders who were surprised at the sizable increases. Communities who rely on the OPP for local policing are billed based on a combination of per capita and usage. Those are calls for service. And AMO policy advisors are on it, and I will get into that. Warden Emo and I met with Bridget Cherry, our AMO policy advisor for the the Solicitor General. On Thursday, October 24th, we agreed to speak again after the OPP billing webinar that was supposed to take place on Friday, October 25th. For some unforeseen reason that was in their email, the webinar was canceled on Friday morning, but I'll speak more to this in my OPP billing. And finally, the Roma board is looking forward to meeting with Municipal and Affairs Housing Minister Paul Calandra at our November meeting. So we're going to share some rural priorities and foster more of a collaborative relationship with our MMAH. So we're very excited about that. Any questions on Roma? All right. OPP billing. So the 2025 OPP. The 2025 OPP billing statements were released in October. Far too close to our October meeting, so that's why it's coming forward to this meeting. In July, we did receive notice that the OPPA, the Ontario Provincial Police Association, had arrived at negotiated percentages For 2023, 24, 25, and 26, the increases were as follows: 4.75 in 23, 4.50 in 24, 2.5 in 25 and 26. However, there were no dollar amounts given at the time. Knowing that the increase of the $167,780 or 4.1% on our levy just for us was unacceptable, and that other municipalities were also receiving increases, advocacy across the county needed to start immediately. I requested that each municipality provide me with their dollar increase and increase on their levy for 2025. I also reached out to the city of Pembroke to have a larger center included in my data. I've provided each of you with this spreadsheet. What I will do is I will also add South Algonquin. I now have their numbers. And I will send those out, and I will also, I just got word that Phonom's going to do this as well. My hope is that the Eastern or the Western Ontario Wardens Caucus will have their numbers, and I'm waiting on the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus as well. But I did have a conversation with our county CAO this morning, so my hope is that I will have all that information back, fingers crossed, by the end of the week. Of note, Deep River has their own police service, which is why they're not included in the spreadsheet. As stated above, I added this to the Roma agenda on October 18th. It was tough because everyone wanted statistics, but I had been up until midnight the night before compiling the statistics and trying to make them make sense. So that's where the conversation took off. At the same time, Warden Emo took the issue the same day. The Warden Emo took the issue to the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, who also endorsed work to be done by AMO policy staff. Again, as stated above, both billing webinars, which were scheduled for the Friday and the Monday, were canceled. We were sure that they were aware of the momentum of frustration from all 329 municipalities who use OPP services. On Wednesday, October 30th, the provincial fall economic statement was released and included the increase in the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund of $100 million over 2 years. On Thursday, October 31st, the allocation list to all municipalities of the first 50 million for the 2025 year was released. Although the OMPF was first established when the OPP services were downloaded to municipalities, it is also utilized by our tier of government for other items. As you can see from the table, except for 2 municipalities, the increase in this fund did not mitigate the entirety of the increases of the new OPP billing across the county or in the city of Pembroke. It should be noted that after the article in the Eganville Leader ran on Wednesday, October 23rd, other media outlets across Ontario were reporting on outrageous increases, including one municipality that incurred a 37% increase, which was $900,000 on their taxes. It is my opinion that the province must find a way to fund these increases outside of the OMPF. AMO, Roma, EOWC, and EOMC, as well as some of the associations in the north, and I just got confirmation of that right now, will be advocating for these measures. So that's what I have to report on right now. Statistics data is key to our advocacy in this. You know, Annette and I spoke about delegations at the Roma conference. I don't want to see this go until the end of January. I think municipalities need answers now. In my opinion, looking at the chart that I did, you can see that we were very lucky. It mitigated all but 0.85%, I believe, of ours. But there were some that weren't so lucky and their OMPF did not go up. And in fact, since nobody knows how the OMPF is calculated, and I mean no one, it's very difficult to answer to other municipalities when they say, hey, how did you get so lucky? We do know that the OMPF is somewhat based on our FIRs, but that information is 18 months to 2 years old. So it's, again, very frustrating when it's being based on old information. We don't know how it's calculated. Contrary to popular belief amongst some of my colleagues, it is not predicated on population.
These numbers seem pretty low for Boncher Valley, the statistics I'm looking at on the report.
What do you mean?
just looking at the statistic calls for
Oh, the
service.
calls for service, my apologies, sorry, I thought you were talking
Yeah.
about my spreadsheet.
No,
Yeah.
no, sorry,
I-
in all of it, I was just surprised to see so low for Bonch Valley.
Yeah,
It's just interesting from when you, sorry, I'm getting you off.
no, no,
topic.
no,
But people talking about more policing, fear that there's more problems in the community, from, drugs to whatever, but these numbers tell a different story.
somewhat. Yeah, it depends on where the call is as well.
Yeah, I'm just talking Bonch Valley. You mean,
No, but even
The
on a
type?
King's, yes, the type.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that's what we should have said.
yes, sorry, but yeah, no, tells me a different story than I thought.
So at this point, that's where I'm at that I can tell you about. But my foot is firmly on the gas pedal and, I'm not stopping with, a graph and a report to Roma. AMO is supposed to come back to our Roma board on the 22nd, I guess. So I'm no more now then, but also, our AMO policy advisor and I have been in constant communication, so. Leave it with me. Any questions?
Do you think much of this increase has to do with demographic shifts? People in the force and people collecting pensions, maybe? I don't know.
No, it's because of their negotiated increases.
Is that's entirely it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Just asking for.
well,
clarity.
4.75 and then 4.5.
And I think they're technologies as well, so they're all set up with body cams now, there's certain, and then technologies that have gone into the vehicles to recognize whether or not you have a license plate. I think there's the negotiated salary and benefits, but there's also the new technologies that they've invested in.
But a lot of that they've had for years.
Yeah, I don't, like, not those two, not the body cams and the technology that went in the vehicles, they've only had that the last couple of years, and don't forget, this is reconciled back.
I know,
last
to
year.
2023.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. All I know is that it's very frustrating and. To roll out the dollar amounts, to give us percentages months ago, then to roll out dollar amounts. Then to cancel the webinars and then to release the OMPF. I think they thought by releasing the partnership fund with this extra 50 million. Even though we've been advocating since 2016 for the OMPF to be indexed every year for the cost of living, but they haven't, and then all of a sudden they're giving Ontario an extra 50 mil 2025 and 50 mil 2026. And I firmly believe that they think they rolled this out and the problem's gonna go away, but it's not. So that's my little rant.
Can I just ask a question on numbers for municipality for Bonch Valley?
Yeah.
So they've got total properties here, 2,645, and I think they had commercial in here as well. Is that right? I thought we had a greater amount of people or properties in,
Sounds almost exact.
really? I thought it was
I-
like 3,900.
I would have said 2,800, but
I was just thinking back to the election and the amount of people in the township.
Our population,
we should,
our population
Not
is
households.
probably 3,900, 4,000,
all right.
but our households are
The
different.
household count.
And then
okay.
don't forget, there's units that are broken up, into those, like
Yeah.
there's, where there's 2 units, and sometimes you'll have a commercial building, which is part of the policing model that I've fought multiple times, where
Yep.
where you have a
100
commercial
people
on the
in one
bottom
building.
and a housing unit or 2 housing units up
Yeah.
top, and that's charged as 3.
Right.
And I always think that really that's still one property. I don't, that there's a police call going to all 3.
No.
If there's an issue with that property, but, and no consultation. I think my issue is no level of service discussion, no consultation. So, we have the increase, but we don't have any impact, like we have no say. Like, so if those, I don't know what those technologies cost, like I understand the wage negotiation, I understand wages have gone up, I can understand some of that dynamics, I understand inflation is high, things like that, fuel, blah, blah, blah. But some of these new technologies, I'm sure they're great, I'm sure there's reasons for them, maybe they make things better and more efficient, but it wasn't something that we had a choice, so they made the choice to invest in those, so maybe that should be a provincial cost, and maybe it is. I don't know, because they don't dare narrow down that formula that far, so that's part of those webinars, why we need to have that discussion to say, okay, so some of these decisions that you made, how come they're not absorbed by the province? You're downloading them to us, but that's not a call for service. That's not a property expense. That's a level of service that you've made a change to without consulting us. So those are the conversations I think we need to have.
You,
But-
you just brought up something very, 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 very important that I was asked at county council. There, and then I went back to AMO to find out, there was no discussion with AMO, none.
Yeah.
So after I don't expect AMO to sit at the table and negotiate, but after the negotiations and they knew the percentages, AMO was not told any number. Like that these increases were gonna cost the province. I don't even wanna put a number out, cause I don't know, but there was no consultation with, by the way, you might wanna put in one of your AMO blasts that this is coming down the pipe. So thank you, just reminded me.
Does this account for overtime? Could that be why? Less staff? Any of it?
It could,
So you hear from the
What-
officers, how they're overworked, understaffed.
all they're telling us right now is that it was due to the negotiated settlement or negotiated contracts. That's what they're telling us. That's it, that's all. They haven't mentioned body cams or anything else. So I don't know. But I think maybe that's the other reason the webinar was canceled.
Well, this report has achieved one thing, it's probably coalesced all the municipalities in our world to do something about it, so that's what you're very much involved with, and thank you for that.
Well, the movement was afoot because when I saw our billing, I almost fell off the couch. Like when we go from 750,000 to 904,000, there is a problem, sir. There is a big problem. So like I couldn't let it go. And I knew that I had Roma the following day and Peter had EOWC the following day. So it was like, okay, a whole bunch of us were at finance and admin. It's like, please text your treasurer or your CAO right now and get those numbers. So, yeah.
Yeah, my initial reaction is this can't be true.
Well, you're right. Well, and then they released the partnership fund list. And I thought all of our amounts are gonna be at least equal to our increases, but they were not.
Well, yeah, like I don't think, yeah, like I think that's the biggest thing is it's that funding, the difference is what everyone's biggest area, like no one's gonna say, I think we need to take more money away from the policing or anything
No.
like that. Thing is like, we need more money to police, and you can just look at your community. But at the end of the day, it's just the partnership fund, and that's been the most confusing part of sitting at this table, is just how all these funding requirements are all work and they get brought down to us. It's just like breaking down for the OM, for example, it's like, we don't know how it's broken down.
If I could find somebody.
No, and
it would be so lovely.
Yeah,
I think
they're
that's
not
what,
knowing.
well, I think that's what's most frustrating. I can fully, like what you were saying before, it's the retention side. I know OPP has been having a lot of retention issues and other things as well. And then they negotiate their salaries and body cams, technology, gotta maintain it. Technology expensive. So I can see why there's cost increase. Don't get me wrong. I do construction, everything's inflated. But at some point the tap runs dry, and this impacts us redoing roads, impacts redoing other things. And that's where I have an issue at.
Yeah.
So
Since you
this
don't like-
fund was not really, it's OCIF that's supposed to be used for roads.
Mhm.
However, that being said, we do use the partnership fund as part of our, relief to our taxpayers.
No, but as a whole, it impacts us having utilization of our
Yeah,
funds to
it's-
like, Jason's got like mulcher had to get done. It's all our taxpayers' money.
And to your point, and I forgot this as well, so thank you. Before the article ran in the Eganville Leader, I was talking to our unit commander in Pembroke, Steph Neufeld, and I warned him, and I said, this is not to do with the frontline officers. This isn't to do with their increases. This is purely on the province. So thank you for that.
Yeah, well, you always want your money going to boots on the ground. It's like-
Absolutely.
And I think that's where, maybe a lot come out of it is that there just needs to be eliminate the middleman in it, and then you get more boots on the ground. It's no different than go to like a school board, for example, and see how much money actually goes to the individual classroom. Not a lot of money goes to the classroom. You don't want to be one of those statistics, right?
No, you don't.
So like, that's the difference is like you're talking about, this is a large increase across all these municipalities. And that's why I texted you earlier. It's like, oh, thank you for the graph. It actually,
Yeah.
it helps illuminate it. The biggest thing is like, residents are taxed enough or tapped out. Like, look at your inflation, your cost of living, your GDP per Canadian is significantly
Food.
down. Well, just look at your GDP per
Anything,
Canadian, you're down
heat,
like 8
hydro.
grand.
Take your pick, yeah.
Well, no, and that's the thing, so look at it, it's
Yeah.
like, hey, like. There's
So,
1.64 on our levy.
the reason had Claire Mariah didn't make it is that I think their treasurer was off the day I asked for this information. And I haven't been able to get it yet.
Mm.
And Renfrew, actually, they had an error in there, so. I will have Renfrew.
Well, we
as
can
well.
tax rent for more and then that's fine with us.
It just kind of like hits you because you look at the numbers for our township, they're quite low in many areas of that I would think would be of concern. There's no trafficking, there's one call for cocaine that's usually in line with fentanyl, right? Like I would think there'd be more in certain pockets where it's like, where
Yeah.
is this, we're supposed to support this, but our numbers look pretty good, but unless I'm reading it wrong.
But again,
It's almost by
it's,
category.
but again, the increase. Is not. When you take the increases in just staff.
Mhm.
I shouldn't have been surprised when I saw our increase. That's what I'm saying.
Be careful on statistics.
Mhm.
because
I know,
if-
these
I don't know
Don't
if you're
seem
aware of
right.
this or not. If the occurrence was on Highway 41 or Highway 60 going through downtown Eganville, it wouldn't be assigned towards Eganville, it would be to the province. But if they went off on a side street for an impaired driver, then that would be assigned against our township.
Yeah, but that makes sense.
Anything on the
Doesn't
provincial
Kings
highway.
That's what I
Well,
said.
It's like some of the big
Well, that makes
picture
sense.
things that cause people fear.
Yeah.
Right? So when you look at this line by line of those big items, it's like,
Well, provide that too, though.
yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
published now,
It's
so
pub-
it's,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
it
But that-
just kind of takes away some of the fear mongering in some categories.
Definitely. All right, is everybody clear on where we're at with OPP? Okay, so if I seem a little frazzled, you know why. All right, so my events and other items, on November 1st, it was my honor to attend and help cut the ribbon on the new Eganville paramedic base. This new facility includes room for paramedic equipment other than ambulances, such as the Sierra team and the rescue watercraft. And now we have 2 RC VTAC rooms for on-site diagnostics. And we're so thankful and proud to have this facility in our municipality. On November 4th, I met with the mayors from the West End of the county and the mayor of South Algonquin to sort of dig down into some of our more rural issues, including OPP. On November 14th, I will be hosting a virtual Roma Zone 6 meeting from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. This will include a presentation of Roma initiatives and allow for some time for questions. And finally, gang, as we are going into our third year of this term, I would ask that each member of this council submit projects and items for consideration for next year at our December meeting. And that's my report.
Anyway, Ken, you were there as well, at a meeting on last Friday on healthcare, and where they're looking at the big picture as to how they're going to administer healthcare and provide healthcare.
Yeah, that meeting was, I'm not gonna be on camera and tell you what I think about
Okay,
the health teams. I have major issues. If you're going to make a change from a LIN to a health team, make it worth our while.
yeah.
So I'm not, it's a waste of money.
It's much the same as happened a year ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that is my report, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
So quick question, projects, your point, what you're looking for in.
Well, you
say
must have
December?
said things or heard things during the election that, we want to leave this place better than we found it. So, we're 2 full years in, you're not newbies anymore for newer members. So I just think it's a great time to regroup and figure out what we want to do in 2025.
So December, first meeting in December,
Sure,
perfect.
we only have one.
No, we have two scheduled.
Oh, yeah.
That we just keep the
do.
second open just in case we need something, right? Or we actually do.
No,
two
we
meetings
actually
in
have two
December.
scheduled, but
Okay.
if you want, we can remove the second one, if that's what you're thinking, and I can move everybody to the first one.
Hmm.
But I'd like to know that today, if that's possible.
How about bump everyone to the first one December, and then we'll decide December meeting if we're gonna have a second one, just in case we have to pass
If
it.
there's something,
That's all I would say. on that.
Yeah.
So plan to do all the reports on the first meeting in December, and then the second one, just leave it blank for now.
but that's really easy because then we can have committee and council the first one and then just have council.
Because
the second one.
Daryl's budget would come to the second meeting in December or first one.
Well, yeah, it depends when we get it completed.
That'd be the only
That may have to
standard,
go,
right?
yeah.
Time sensitive.
Yeah.
That's fine. If we need a quick one, that's, I don't know.
I'm sorry, I screwed that up. I was thinking committee and council and then just committee. Cause we don't have to have a second council meeting
But we may have to.
if we have to pass Carol's budget.
Do you want me to just leave it as it is
Yeah.
then? Okay.
Just
And
want to
then-
throw in this, the Remembrance Day Parade, sorry, is the 11th. If, just to see who's
It's
going.
before 11.
Yep, it's in the morning, on the 11th at 10:30.
Yeah.
Just wanted to ask if who's going, I plan on going.
I'm laying the wreath for the county and John's laying the wreath for the township.
Okay.
We don't participate in the parade.
Why are they having it
We
in the
did
side
last
this
year.
year, do you know?
Because that's our actual cenotaph,
Okay,
right? Like this, it's so pretty.
I know,
We
but
walked
it
it.
has
last
an
year.
inside
That's
for
the
years.
Christmas parade.
Was that the Christmas one or the Remembrance Day one? I thought we did a
I've
Remembrance.
never
one.
walked the Remembrance Day one.
There's, so the, Garrison Petawawa does a march on Remembrance Day, like the public doesn't participate on it,
Okay,
Mhm.
maybe that's what you're thinking.
lots of parades.
So we don't have a date, we have a date for our Christmas party. We don't have a date for the Christmas parade yet.
Yes, it is,
Yeah.
December 8th.
Too soon?
Are we gonna, I guess we'll talk about that later, if we're gonna do something.
December 8th, did you say?
December 8th, yes,
Yeah,
that's when the Rotary Parade is.
but we don't have to do that online, right? We can talk about if,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
do we
I was
know what the
thinking-
theme is?
No, we don't have the theme.
Oh, then we don't know what we're doing yet. We
So-
need the theme.
Sounds good. So then, establish next meeting, be December 3rd in it.
November 19th.
Yeah, November
Oh, geez.
19th.
November 19th, perfect. Okay, media session. Nope.
We have a, sorry, 19th is their meeting in the morning, right? That
Yes,
is-
Emergency
19th. Yeah,
management
the
Yeah.
emergency management
Yeah.
exercises in the morning on the
And then
19th,
we have
and then,
council.
And EGC. It's gonna be a long day, people.
yes,
Long
we
day.
have EGC the same time, and also the county, is coming to present for the MESA.
Messa, yeah.
So we have a quick delegation from them,
So our emergency exercise is at the Eagle's Nest
Eagle's
as
Nest.
before.
At 9:30.
9:30, I
Yeah.
believe, yeah.
Yes, as requested, I asked our chief paramedic if we could have the Messa team come and present, so they are coming.
Excellent.
They're doing some amazing work.
Perfect. So media session, closed session, none. Could I please ask for a mover for an adjournment? Merv,
You need a second.
John?
No,
Oh, I was asked for two. All those in favor? Perfect.